Hey, deserving listeners, time to continue our journey watching 90 Day Fiancé, in which I react to Tarik and Hazel. I'm going back in time, watching this in preparation for the new upcoming season 8 of 90 Day Fiancé coming out December 2020. Let's get to the show.
Hazel and I are on a 4-day vacation in El Nido, and yesterday, Hazel told me she loves me for the first time. This is wildest dreams, come to life. I'm more serious with Hazel than I've been with any person ever. And I'm confident now that I want her to meet my daughter, Ari, on video chat.
All right, this is interesting. So he is saying that he is more serious with her than he's ever been with anyone. So there's two possibilities. One is that he just feels very, very much in love, and he is having a hard time remembering other times when he was as much in love, and it's just hard for him to remember that or to identify with that. That certainly happens. When we fall in love, say for the 7th time, sometimes it can feel like I've never been in love before, when you might actually go back in time and hear the same thing from you with a different relationship before. Now, it's hard to know the relative amount of love one feels, but anyway, I hope you get my point. The second possibility is that he has literally not had many close relationships. I want to look at this more closely because the relationship that they're in at this point, to my eyes, doesn't seem super close. Now, they seem to be very much liking each other. They've expressed they love each other. They're starting to be physically affectionate with each other. They're headed towards marriage and living together for the rest of their lives. That's a big deal. And they have been in person interacting for, I don't know, a couple weeks. I don't know, maybe a month, maybe less, maybe just a few days. I don't know. It's somewhere in that range. And that usually doesn't facilitate a super deep relationship. Like with my wife, I would like to think that I have a deeper relationship with her now than I did years ago. Things build over time. And so if he has never had a relationship that was this deep, it makes me wonder what kind of bad luck he's had with romance, and or what kind of relational traumas he's been through early in life that made it difficult for him to trust other people. I don't know. I mean, there's literally no data to comment on in that area, but we'll just keep an eye on that as we move forward.
Why didn't tell Rose about me?
Because... Yeah, I didn't tell her about you because of how she's acted in the past. Rose and I have been in custody battles since Ari was 4 months old. So, I keep my private life private.
Interesting. So he's saying that since Ari, their daughter, has been very young, they've had a custody battle that whole time. I've been with people through those kinds of processes. I don't know exactly what Tarik went through, but if I was to take a guess as to what he's going through right now, there have been a lot of mudslinging at each other. He's not a fit father because of this and this and this. She is an unfit mother because of this, this, and this. Therefore, I deserve full custody. Or if she's going to say that, then I'm going to say this. And back and forth, back and forth. Or there is a parenting plan in place and one parent gets a little too flexible with it, starts to fudge the boundaries a little bit, meaning that the kid might be 50-50 and one of the parents refuses to let the kid go over, and one of the parents is like, well, she likes it over here better than over there. I don't know if that's what happened with Tarik, but it's a pretty common scenario to have those elements and more. Maybe even actual court battles where you hire lawyers and waste a lot of money fighting with each other on this. I don't want to say waste, but at least spend a lot of money. So I don't know if that's Tarik's situation. And so if it is, then if he reveals to her the mother of their child, that he went to the Philippines and without ever meeting her in person, or with only meeting her in person for a few weeks, she is now going, he's going to marry her, bring her back. She has a kid too. So to the biological mother of their child, she might either be concerned about that or will drum up concern because she's trying to get primary custody or something. She could see that as, wait, so some random Filipino woman who you barely know and your older brother is very suspicious of, I'm supposed to just sign off and say that she can take care of our daughter, our special needs daughter? No, 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 no. If you're going to marry that random woman from the Philippines, then I get total custody. And if that woman is going to parent my child, then I have to be present at all times. That would be very common for someone in her position to say. I don't know, but I've been there enough times to predict that, or at least he's predicting that. And so that's why he doesn't want to, or he's thinking about how to strategize, how to reveal to his ex-partner about his relationship with Hazel. That's just my guess.
What Rose knows about where I am is that I'm not in Virginia Beach. She don't need to know anything about you, really. And that's really so she can't try to cause problems between us.
What if Rose will stop me from being second mother to Ori?
Don't worry about that.
And what I will say overall to situations like this is, for those of you who are heading into situations like that or are in a situation like that, I'm guessing a number of you are, and it's incredibly beneficial to try to have I always say this, a working relationship between the parents for the betterment of the child and everybody. When two parents are at each other's throat, the child suffers in a variety of ways, not only just logistically, because it's like you have to parent together. You want to share things. If the kid needs to go to the hospital, you got to work together. If the kid is having a school conference, you got to work together. But also emotionally, the kid is going to pick up on that. They're going to notice, like, wow, my parents really hate each other. That hurts children. It hurts them emotionally. It can cause relational traumas that will cause issues later in life, for sure. Some of you might be adults and went through that as children and absolutely can attest to the pain that it felt, and maybe even the schemas of distrust that you might have learned. Seeing your parents stoop to those lows, seeing your parents not get along, seeing the way they might have used you but as an in-between, might have damaged your trust in human beings, your trust in romantic love. Who knows? But what I can say as a jumping off point of what we're seeing right here is try to build a working relationship. And if you need help, get a professional. Couples therapists like myself will absolutely work with you. We can pull everyone in and say, hey, let's commit to 10 sessions where we get to know each other. The former spouses are in the room. The new spouses are in the room. Maybe the kids are in the room. And we're all going to try to resituate the system such that people have a working relationship. Maybe some resentments can be put to rest. Maybe some griefs can be grieved. Some losses can be grieved. Maybe some apologies can be made, so that you can get along. You don't have to be in love, but you have to get along. You are parents of a child, and you have to get along. And you cannot say to yourself, screw that person. I don't ever want to talk to that person again. I mean, you certainly can say that, but it's not usually good for yourself and for your kid and for everyone concerned. So that's what I'll say about that.
I want you to call her, then tell about me.
You want me to tell her about you?
I think I need to prove that I be a good mother to Ori.
So that's interesting. Me and Tarik just had the same head reaction. Well, she's like, hey, I want you to tell the mother, Rose, that I'm a part of your life. And he's like, why? Because at first you're thinking, oh, Hazel is just being jealous and she just wants to force herself in. But then she follows it up with, no, I want Rose to understand that I'm going to be a good mother to Ari and that I take this very seriously. That is fantastic. That's some very mature, differentiated, healthy approach to this. That's very encouraging that she would say that. She'd be like, look, if I'm in this to win this, I am going to be Ari's stepmother. And I have accepted that into my bones, and I am ready to go. So I want you to call Rose and tell her I exist and tell her that I am on board, and we'll work this out. And this is going to happen. You know, it's going to happen, and I'm ready to do this thing. That certainly would inspire confidence in Tarik and perhaps in Rose. We'll see what happens.
I would rather her just not know anything. It's a shame, but you know, the people that I have around me get crazy when they see me happy and want to tear my stuff up.
Now, we'll have to take Tarik's word for that. I certainly have no reason to believe his account for that he believes there's really no way to reason with her. You know, it could be. I don't know. But that makes me really sad and worried for Ari, honestly, that he believes that he can't have any kind of conversation with her. Now, maybe he thinks, look, let's get married, let's go back to the States, and once you're there, then I'll sit Rose down, we'll have a conversation, and she'll just have to deal with it because I'm already married. But if I'm not married yet, and I'm over here, and we don't have the track record together yet, it's going to create all this chaos, and Rose is just going to create all this drama. They're going to call everyone in my family. My older brother already is not on board with this. I don't want to go through all that. Let's give it some time. You know, I could see that too.
So that's the reason. Enough about Rose. You're not going to get to meet Ari anyway today, so let's enjoy where we are.
My life dream is to go to America, to have a family with my son and Tarik's daughter, but I don't think Tarik is ready to be married. And he's leaving in just a few days.
Good?
I'm good.
So it appears that the two of them aren't understanding each other in this moment. For her, she's interpreting his resistance as evidence that he doesn't really love her or doesn't really want to include her, which is understandable that it feels that way. For him, I'm guessing there's a whole backstory there of chaos that he has learned quite effectively to deal with it by just avoiding or being extremely diplomatic with, which maybe he's doing. So I guess what I'm looking for is for him to explain it to Hazel and say, look, the reason I don't want you to feel rejected, I understand that you'd be hurt by that. I get it, and I'm really happy that you want to be involved. But let me explain to you what would happen, I'm guessing, if I were to tell Rose about you right now. And here is my plan. You know, maybe that would help Hazel. Here's my plan. I'm going to absolutely introduce you as my wife, as my partner, as the mother of Ari, stepmother of Ari, at this time, but I have to do these things in between. But I have a feeling maybe that Tarik is so anxious about that situation that he just wants to sweep it under the rug. At least that's what it appears like, and that hurts her.
The face don't look like it.
All right, well, that does it for that episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always curious what people think. Let's make this a conversation and be nice to each other in the comment section. Usually people are, but every once in a while there's some hurtful things that people say to each other, which is sad to see. But let's be nice to each other, or let's support each other, or at the very least, just be neutral to each other in the comment section. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.